When I'm not making savvy investments into the future of cutting-edge technology, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Hey Sean, a question for your next Q&A. Okay, I'm playing a backing track in, say, G major. If I want to spice up my solo by choosing a different mode to play over the backing track, how to go about it? I get a little bored with just using the major and relative minor to solo with. Thanks, muchly. Great question, and I think this is where modes kind of come in to play really well. So let's just make a loop of something in G major. I apologize to the tone police. This is just a practice amp with its looper. But let's just do something in G, something like G major to E minor. Firmly in the key of G major, right? So again, if you just wanted to do something, you know, in G major or E minor, you can do the E minor pentatonic. Or just straight up E minor. But you know, that kind of has its own sound for sure. So the next thing that you could do is, like we talked about in one of the Spanish videos, is you could use E harmonic minor. So that's just getting that 7th note and sharpening it. So then you have... Okay, so that's one thing that you could do is, again, in the key of G, just always replace anytime you see a D note, replace it with D sharp or E flat, right? There's different shapes that we've kind of gone over in different videos. I think another way, kind of thinking modally, of how to do something like that is to just use, since you already said that you're kind of proficient in like minor, use something from a different minor chord. So again, something that I like to do a lot is, again, if we're in the key of G, that 3rd chord is a B minor. Pretend that you're using like a B minor scale and you're actually playing a different mode of the major scale there. So if you just play the B minor stuff in G, maybe you're getting more of like a G Lydian feel from that by just taking, we're really just adding a C sharp in there, okay? So the B minor scale has a C sharp, which makes it a sharp 4 in G. Again, I think a lot of us get really confused on the modes and stuff like, okay, what mode do I play over which one? Well, it's not even so much about learning different modal shapes, it's like learning minor, like this person said, you know, they use the relative minor a lot. If you use relative minor on a different note in that key, you're essentially playing modally, right? Like when I play B minor, I'm really just kind of adding a different note in there. I'm just swapping out all the, so we've got B, I'm swapping out the C's in that scale for C sharps. So then I'm really kind of playing G Lydian, even though I'm using a B minor thing, because remember, G major without a C and with the C sharp is a different thing. So it has a different feel. So that kind of has just a different, you know, feel from that. I mean, this is one example. I think playing modally and then really incorporating some of that minor harmonic stuff is a really cool way to kind of think about it. And it's easy because you're not really learning anything new. You're experimenting with something that you already know in a different location. And that's kind of a good way to like train your ears a little bit. Sean, I noticed Rick Beato removed the video in which he bullied you. Did he by any chance contact you and or apologize to you? I'm very curious. Yeah, so he never contacted me. I guess he took that video down, whatever. I will say though that it was kind of awesome that a lot of the subscribers kind of went over and like really flamed him pretty hard on that video before he took it down, which I can't really explain how great it makes me feel to personally be able to take the high road, but then have my people go slam him, so I kind of get to enjoy it from both ends. So that was a pretty fantastic experience, and thank you once again. I'm sorry to hear that Rick Beato pointed some a-holeness in your direction. I think you and Ian are awesome, though I'll admit that I like Ian better. I had never heard of this Rick Beato guy prior to this. I saw this video a few days ago, and I was pissed, steamed, angry, and appalled by such a dick move on Rick Beato's part. I went over to his page looking to return fire, but instead I've spent the last 3 days watching his videos. Hell, I even subscribed to his channel. His content's legit. This guy owes you some thanks for the publicity. Traitor! You dirty traitor! Nice video, and nice to see Justin back on the channel. I still use an arpeggio he showed me as an exercise daily, and while we are on the matter, a question for the next QA. Sometimes, mostly when I practice scales with a metronome more than usual, it happens. I kind of lose some of my ability to play at a BPM I usually have no problem with. For example, if I play pretty good major scale at 170 BPM, suddenly I become sloppy and am forced to slow down. This can last for days and goes away as suddenly as it came. Is that normal? Does it happen to other people? During these synchronization challenge periods, should I stop playing at the speed altogether for some days, or should I be stubborn and continue to try even though I'm very sloppy? Thanks, buddy. So yeah, I think this is totally normal. This is something that happens to me too, and it'll happen to me live. Honestly, it's weird that every now and then, it's just like, you know, once you start thinking about playing an instrument almost as, you know, kind of like an athletic ability. You know, some days like the best basketball players or football players or golfers or whatever, they don't have their A game. And for me, it's happened where sometimes like I'll be live and maybe it could just be fatigue. I don't even know. There doesn't really seem to be rhyme or reason to it, but sometimes I just don't totally have it and I can't play as smoothly as maybe I can on other days. And when it comes to speed stuff, especially, sometimes I almost just kind of feel like I'm locked up sometimes, like my fingers are just kind of stiff. So a lot of people say that, like, you know, stretching and stuff will help with that kind of thing. For me and my playing, I feel like most of what I do is compositional to the most part, where if I can't play my fastest cleanly, it's not a huge deal because I'm not really a flashy player in general. But I do know that like a lot of people I know who do have, you know, more of that kind of like into their routine, they say that the stretching is the utmost important thing that you can do. But really, I do think that as far as should I keep just playing through it sloppily, I don't think that's really helpful in any way. I think you always want to try to like aim for playing clean, even if you have to kind of like back the metronome down a few BPMs. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen, you know? You just practice, you know, as much as you can to where you can get it clean, and eventually those moments happen less. I do find that as I've been playing more and more live stuff, it doesn't happen to me as frequently as maybe it did, so, you know, that could be your answer right there. But really, you know, it's just something that you're not always gonna have your A game, but it's just finding a way to enjoy it and not being a perfectionist about it, and then just know that those days are gonna happen, and then just keep rocking it out. From a musician's perspective, this is not acceptable. Now it's time for the elitist salty piano player comment of the week. I definitely like this because the avatar for this guy is exactly what I'm picturing in my head for the salty piano voice. So thank you for kind of making that connection for me. Nice cover. What's your favorite Queens of the Stone Age album and why? This is absolutely the hardest question I've ever had to answer on this QA. A lot of you know I'm a huge Queens of the Stone Age fan. One of my favorite bands of all time. As far as picking a favorite album, it's like picking a favorite child, so I've been told by parents. I personally think that it kind of starts with Songs for the Deaf, and anything post there is eligible. I still like a lot of the songs on Rated R and the Queens of the Stone Age one, but I think they really kind of came into their own with Songs for the Deaf. Awesome song. To me, that album has like the most raw songs on there and kind of like makes me feel a certain kind of way. So I love Songs for the Deaf. I think that's probably, it's just so hard. Now that I'm saying, I was going into this question prepared to say Songs for the Deaf, but now that I'm thinking about it, like, Lullabies to Paralyze is such an underrated album, and it's like so good. Era Vulgaris is amazing, like Clockwork is amazing. The new one is kind of different. I still like it a lot, and I listen to it. It's in rotation. Awesome. They're all so great, but to me, I think it comes down to Songs for the Deaf, Lullabies to Paralyze. I kind of feel like Lullabies is a more accessible version of Songs for the Deaf, where like maybe like arrangement-wise, musically, it's a little bit tighter and kind of more of what I think of when I think of the band currently, which has just gotten better with age. Anytime you get a chance to see those guys live, they absolutely slay. Fantastic. So I'm still not sure what I'm going to say, Songs for the Deaf or Lullabies to Paralyze. I think saying that Songs for the Deaf is probably the more popular answer, so I am going to say Lullabies to Paralyze. 2018? So I've got this piano video where I make an offhanded comment like get with it, it's 2018, people. And I've had multiple people say 2018, and I'm like, yeah, that's the year. And they're like, oh crap, it is 2018, isn't it? And it's like late 2018 at this point. So I think it's just pretty great. And it's just it's a great YouTube moment where people are generally confused by learning what year it is. How's that new pedal board working out for you? Looks like a great setup. So a couple days ago, I released a video about making my forever pedal board, which, come on, I'm gonna be swapping stuff out soon enough. But I really wanna thank Warwick for sending me that Rockboard, because that is something that I probably never would have gotten around to, because at my heart, I'm kind of a minimalist guitar player. I really only need that Mesa amp. It's fantastic. It's got, it's got reverb, it's got different distortion circuits, and it's got EQ into it, so I can get a lot of sounds out of that. But I gotta say, assembling that pedal board has really inspired me to be playing a lot more electric guitar, and I've been jamming on that pedal board ever since I actually got it assembled with my man Justin. And I think it just goes to show how there's something about just getting a new piece of gear, even though I've had all these pedals, but just kind of consolidating them into a nice board has done a lot for me, just kind of reconnecting with playing electric guitar. So I totally remember now why I was always all about just acquiring new gear, because it does kind of stoke a lot of creativity. There's nothing better than falling in love with gear you already own, because you don't have to spend any money with it. So I really do want to thank Warwick and Framus for setting me up with that pedal board, because I've been jamming on the thing a lot, and hopefully there'll be some more pedal combo videos I'm thinking about maybe shooting. So stay tuned for those. And if you guys have any questions on the pedals or anything you might maybe want to see from that setup, let me know in the comment section, because I'll definitely start trying to incorporate some more electric guitar stuff coming soon. Thanks a lot. Listening homework, I'm going to throw you to one of my favorite bands ever, Spoon. I haven't really talked about Spoon a lot on this channel, because I feel like I haven't listened to them in a couple years, but I went on a Spoon deep dive while I was driving recently, and man, I love Spoon. And also too, because the singer Britt Daniel, one of the other world famous Daniels that doesn't have an S at the end of his name Daniel, just Daniel, so he's one of the Daniels, plural Daniels, is the man. Huge Spoon fan. Definitely check them out if you're not familiar with the catalog. They got a lot of great music. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.